My temporary Cichlid tank, 75 gallons. Just got everybody moved into this about 24 hours ago. There's about 50 cichlids in here. Two 13-inch Placosmus, there's the head of one of them. A 6-inch golden Chinese algae eater. There's one of the tank's hybrid males, it's alpha. These cichlids have been in the same tank environment 3 years, 4 years. There's a lot of hybrids in here now. OBs, zebras, various species from Lake Malawi, Lake Tanganese, some OBs, albino zebras, mabunas. They're all African varieties. While everybody's living in here, I'm setting up a new 90-gallon tank that's been drilled. It's going to overflow into the old 75-gallon tank these guys came from. The bottom tank's going to be planted. Top tank's going to be for the adults. There won't be any strainers or filters between the two, so if any of the children come down the overflow, they get to grow up in the planted tank. The display tank's going to stay bare bottom, because frankly every 6 months or so I've got to take everything out of this just to get all the poop out. Because it's so heavily stocked, nitrates are always a problem, so I'm trying to improve the health of the fish by going with a second tank to overflow that's planted. Prior to this, I just left all the algae in there. I never tried to kill it. So everything always stayed in this velvet shade of algae. It never got very long because fish like that Placosmus there, always out grazing, always out keeping it from getting long. And there's a pair of them that size. It's about 13 inches. I've had those Placosmus now for almost 12 years. Once I get the 90-gallon set up, I'll post another video. Compared to a saltwater tank, cichlids are almost cruise control. You keep them fed, you clean the filter. Twice a year or so, do a heavy clean on the tank, clean out the substrate, keep the nitrates respectable. I know there's people out there, they want fish in these pure waters, but I'll tell you, go take a water test kit to your local lake. There's going to be nitrates. Some fish live in pretty polluted water. Now I want my fish to thrive, so I'm trying to improve their conditions, but 50, 60 fish in a 75-gallon tank, some of these getting up to the size of that one there, 6 inches. There's a lot of waste, a lot of nitrates. Regular water changes, heavy filtration, lots of flow. I know these are lake fish, they like caves. I got a double canister filter down on the bottom and a second canister filter. At least if you go according to the manufacturers, I got enough filtration here for 800 gallons a tank. You can see the intakes there. That's a penguin double back there. It's at least a decade old. Spray bars. I use one pump. It keeps the open water out here moving. And when they want to get into it, they can treat it like a treadmill. When they need out of the flow, they just go into a rock. No big deal. And all these hiding places, they're required. These fish would kill one another if there was nothing in the tank. It just depends on the time of day which male's coming out. The goal is on the next move, you can see some of these guys, they've got a little bit of fungus or something. On the next move, I'll have this tank already cultured. I'm going to leave those that need help in here. It'll most likely be a treatment of Melifex, maybe erythromycin, but odds are it'll just be a treatment of Melifex. Because some of these guys, they've been living down in the bottom where all the waste is. Down by the waste, there's a lot more growth. So if they've been hiding down in the bottom, you can see this is 24 hours old. The poop's already starting to accumulate. There's a lot of fish in there. That's probably one of my oldest cichlids right there. 4.5, 5 years old. It lost its mate a couple of years ago in a power outage. It's definitely the progenitor of a lot of the hybrids I have in the tank. Albeit I always thought those hybrids like this one were always sterile. You can see it in fish like this because they're nearly transparent. They're flesh-toned colored. Their parentage came from some electric yellow male that was dominant in the tank for 2 years. He was 7.5 inches long, ran the tank like his personal harem. All these orange ones, these are the legacy. During the move, I pulled out 25-inch adults, males, females. Ended up gifting them to a friend that was setting up another 120-gallon tank. I'm hoping to see more like this hybrid here. It's got some beautiful blue in him, stripes, green coloration, chartreuse in the tails. But that OB peacock there, either it or its dead mate, definitely spawned with the electric orange that I had for a long time. Otherwise I wouldn't have so many of these translucent kids. Well, these are my cichlids. I'll make another video once I get the overflow and planted tank growing, but I doubt I'll have all the adults. The local fish store said I could bring in the adults. We'll make a trade for plants so that once I get all the learite set up in the 75-gallon tank, oh, they're fighting for the hole. I can get the planted tank set up well because the nitrates, they're going to grow. If you ever do a move of a heavily stocked tank like this, make sure you don't disturb your filter. This tank would be lethal ammonia without that filter running. Even with starter bacteria, which I did, I added supplemental bacteria culture to it. I had the tank running for a week with no fish in it. Got the buffers going. You can find it online. Chem sells a salt and buffer kit just for cichlids. Good night.